The most serious threat internally in Russia.
Essentially, a civil
took
war.
Over since 2000.
A civil war in a country that has twice the nuclear weapons we have.
Wait a minute. Is this true? There's a whole lot of BS that we need to discuss. There's a bunch of stuff that we are forced to partake in. What's going on, Heather? Shout out to Heather. We're forced to partake in simply because we are citizens of the greatest nation in the world. All right. And because of that, we got to deal with the BS that goes on in other countries because our money is tied over there. It's all about money at the end of the day. It's about money and power. And right now, the United States is winning. But because of the effed up moves that Joe Biden has been making, we are losing day after day after day. Okay? It's just that we're so far ahead of a lot of these countries that we may not see the remnants yet. But I want y'all to see this right here. Patrick Bet David, I really respect this guy. That's the only reason why I check out a lot of his videos.
Main story right now, Rob, if you want to pull this up, we'll tee this off before he comes in. The main story everybody's talking about right now is what just happened with Russia. Okay, Russia and Wagner Group. Russia's put in orders military to crush Wagner Group. Grab calls it treason. Now, here's a few things you need to know about what this is. Number one, the guy behind Wagner Group is a guy named, I want to pronounce this correctly.
Now, happy Sunday to you all. Hopefully you woke up in good spirits. You thank God for all the grace and mercy that he has blessed and bestowed upon you and your family.
Yevgeny Prigozhin, okay? Prigozhin, that's his name. Yevgeny Prigozhin. He's a billionaire. It's like the Blackwater of Russia. And this guy's called his men to oust the country's military leadership, meaning he's going directly against Putin's military.
Now, that's something that you don't do unless you want to die. All right? We're dealing with Putin. We're talking about Putin here. All right? That dude don't care. He's a straight up and down dictator. And the only president that earned that dude's respect and he wouldn't try his hand on him, y'all already know who that president is. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Y'all already know it is. Yes, Trump. And anybody that's watching this, especially the black folk out there that keep on try to act as if I'm leaning rights for something other than anything authentic or organic, you thinking it's something silly, do some research, please, so you can find out exactly which president we had in the past years who earned the respect of other leaders all around the world, and you will see for yourself. Trust me, when I had to face that realization myself, it was a shock. At one point, I didn't like Trump either, but when I learned, now I'm just reiterating what I heard.
So we got to oust the military leadership, and he claims the war on Ukraine was based on false pretenses. They have roughly 25,000 soldiers. Okay, these are a lot of former Navy SEALs, these are guys that are,
mercenaries.
These are not regular types of. These are people that believe in the cause of what's happening and not doing their job because they have to do their job. They're doing their job because they believe in what Yevgeny is talking about. Sometimes people like this are true believers. 10 soldiers that are true believers going against 100 that are just doing their jobs. Sometimes the 10 has an edge over the other 100 because they believe exactly in what they're doing. So
Robin Hood.
Exactly. So Putin responded, the actions of Wagner Group are seen as treason. There's a warrant out for him right now. They got bombed. I think he claims they got bombed. Their unit got bombed. They're bombing some, gas, different kind of places that they're taking out. Putin is telling them to get this guy here, this guy being a billionaire. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now in Russia. Do you have the clips, Rob, to show on what's?
Of course, they looking for this guy, man. They gonna find him too, bruh. And that's the unfortunate thing. But hey, he's a whistleblower. You don't speak ill on Putin when you're in Russia, bruh. That's just what you don't do, man. You do that when you're outside and when you're not near him. If you're there, man, you got balls of steel. And they put that daggone warrant out. They looking for him, man. Sheesh.
What's going on there? I think there's whether it's Putin giving a speech or him giving a speech or the explosion. I think one of the videos, Vinny, you may have given to him.
Yeah, see, because they're advancing right now towards. They're saying they're going towards Moscow right now. He's advancing through the streets, and there's a bunch of vehicles blown up, and they're on to the side, and he's actually advancing there right now.
What's this here, Rob?
Wow.
Lower the music just so we don't have to. Is there any other thing to? So this is what? This is them pulling up to who?
Well, they took over a city called Rostov, right?
Okay.
And now they're basically marching towards Moscow, 25,000 soldiers. A lot of them actually recruited from prisons and penal camps.
Sheesh.
And they're basically saying that this is the most serious threat internally in Russia.
Essentially
since
a civil
took
war.
over since 2000.
A civil war in a country that has twice the nuclear weapons we have.
And it's happening right now.
So, Alex, what are your thoughts on what's going on right now in Russia? Obviously, it's a breaking story. It's all over the place.
Wait a minute. Did Alex Jones just now say that Russia has twice the nuclear weapons that we have? What? Is that serious? Yo, is this true? Russia actually has more nuclear weapons than, like, double the nuclear weapons than we have? What's up, Bowie? At a certain point, don't matter who has more. Why doesn't? I mean, well, I didn't say whether or not it mattered. Don't start daggone commenting with the BS. All right, you want to start sugar honey iced tea on a Sunday morning? We're not going to go back and forth. Okay? I just asked if they had more than us. You're gonna say it don't matter if they got more. They're gonna knucklehead. Not at all, dear. You're just fine. Yes, and Biden is depleting our military equipment too. Wow, man. All right, okay, all right. We got to have a conversation after this.
On cover of every website, this is all they're talking about. What do you know about the story?
Absolutely. I'm glad we just spent an hour and a half on me, but I was like, let's not talk about me because this, I mean, what I really do study is geopolitics. Of course, you're a special ops guy. I know your history. You're super smart. I watch your show all the time. You know what you're talking about. So I really look forward to me shutting up here and what you have to say because I'll be honest with people. I didn't talk about the submarine until Friday because I wanted to see all the pieces. And they lied to us about that. They knew it blew up on Sunday. They used it as a distraction.
Boy, I know where you were getting at, man. I was just starting stuff. Love you, man.
Bare minimum. And I'm sorry for the dead. But on this subject, last night we're driving in here. And I'm seeing this news, and I'm thinking, this is so dangerous, this can't be real. And then we were out to dinner late, and I saw it last night that it looked like it was real, but I just couldn't fathom it. So I spent a lot of time this morning researching this. This is obviously very fast-moving, but let me just tell listeners and viewers, and I think you'll probably agree with me, and any other mainline military analyst would. This is the most dangerous development in modern history with nuclear weapons, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, Russia has tactical nukes and intermediate range and long range weapons all over Western Russia. Their submarines are off our coast. If you know Russian history, if a leader fails a war, they always kill him. Putin is a softliner compared to the hardliners that are trying to take control. The point is that I'm having one of those moments.
Prigozhin, this guy?
Pergovich, yes, Pergovich, if I'm saying it right. Pergovich. I have trouble with the Russian. And
Prigozhin.
See, even though it's in a Russian agent, I don't know anything about it. But anyways, Prigozhin, I'm trying to draw all the data up right now. Prigozhin is obviously one of these billionaire oligarchs that runs these catering companies. And he does a lot of psyops with Putin and is reportedly Putin's best buddy. And he's a former prisoner and all the rest of it. And
he's a former friend of Putin.
Well, Putin's now saying he wants to arrest him, yes. Well, you guys have all the latest developments. What I'm saying is this. We know that NATO has back channels with the Russian Central Command, and they're both working to not have a nuclear war behind the scenes. So the question is it the Russian – here's the different scenarios. I want to hear your take on it. Is the Russian military working with the West? Is Prigozhin working with the West that heads up the Wagner group? Or are neither of those sides really working with NATO, and this is really an internal power struggle? And then the other question is, well, will NATO back one of the two? And then separately, is this really the Russian military that just bombed Prigozhin and his troops? They're going to act like Prigozhin launches this attack, and then they're really going to kill Putin and then say it was Prigozhin. This is serious cloak and dagger, fog of war. I don't think Putin really knows what's going on because that's how Russia operates. It's total. Everybody works in unison until the knives come out. And right now, they're about all these different factions, all this stuff's going on. And the last time they moved the chairs around in 1999, when Boris Yeltsin disappeared, we got Putin. So I don't think we know. What we do know is Russia is now under martial law, and Moscow is under martial law, and 30,000 battle-hardened ex-convict survivors.
What does it mean to be under martial law? If someone can help me with that, that would be amazing. He's saying that Russia is now under martial law. Moscow is now under martial law. The last time they went through this, a president was disappeared and or was replaced by Putin, and I'm guessing that the person that was replaced was killed. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Martial law is military lockdown. So they're under a military lockdown right now because of all the information that's coming out about Putin. And apparently Wagner, the Wagner group, the Wagner group leader, they're saying that he is actually worse than Putin. So if things go, wow, how could they be worse than Putin? Sheesh.
Of the 60,000, half of them died, that were sent to Ukraine, who are credited with winning most of the battles, because Prigozhin says that the Central Command is working with the West and losing on purpose, and that they're trying to undermine things to take out Putin. And he says Putin needs to believe him. Now they say he's trying to come kill Putin. So Putin, we haven't seen him say this, but we've seen him in text say it, that he's going to get Prigozhin. And so I don't think we know at this point. This is unbelievably riveting. This just gives me unlimited adrenaline. I mean, I'll guarantee you I'm going to be scanning and reading and up. I'm going to go do an emergency broadcast today from the pastor's place. I've been here working the whole time, but I just absolutely have to do this. I'm glad we're here covering it. And now I'd like to hear all the latest developments from you guys, and then see what you think.
Alex, is this one of those things where, they say that the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Because this guy, Prigozhin, the United States has issued an arrest warrant for him in 2018. This has to do with something to do after the 2016 election. We can go there. But he's no friend of the states. They have an arrest warrant for him. So I know that you kind of alluded, like, what's NATO's involvement here? What's going on here? Is this an internal struggle? You're absolutely right. There's
he headed up the internet.
There's more questions than answers right now.
But the average American is going to be like, oh, he's going to Putin, go get him. Americans that don't know anything are going to be cheering for this guy to get Putin out. But they have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
You just brought it to the key.
Yep.
And that's why I had to brainstorm first. There's so many pieces, and then I come up with my answer. The bottom line is Putin is a middle-of-the-road guy compared to the hardliners. Prigozhin wants martial law and nuclear war with the West. He's completely psychotic. Yeah. I've watched his videos where he says it, and he's fearless, too. He's out there on the front lines for like a year and a half. The guy's a maniac.
Okay, question. What does it benefit us to stick out to be in their business when it comes to this? How does that benefit us? Now, of course, we don't want anyone at the helm in Russia, someone that's over all of those nuclear weapons, to be batshit crazy, all right? But we already have that in Putin. Now this other gentleman, not new guy, this other gentleman or this other guy, whoever he is, I'm hearing that he is equally, if not more crazy or hateful than Putin is. So we don't want, am I right? We don't want anything to happen to Putin. We would much rather that this guy is arrested, right? For the sake of all the surrounding countries, ourselves included, when it comes to potential wars, right? So maybe I just answered my own question. Now, from what I'm hearing, America is in the wrong on the war in Ukraine. Some people say that, but some people say that they are in the right, because they have a whole bunch of information to support that. Putin is and isn't one of the worst. Putin is a nationalist, so most of what he does is all for Russia. So so you're saying Russians love Putin, is what you're saying? Or does he do it with an iron fist? And, he's just making sure that he just keep the hammer down, and he don't care if they're comfortable. He just doing everything he's doing to protect the homeland of Russia, so to speak. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't want any of this to knock on our doorstep. That's just to keep it a buck. I mean, I get it. We are connected to these other countries. We have to protect. We have to make sure that we're that everyone's being fair to one another. And then we have the oil trade, and we have all this other business that we're doing with these other countries. And we don't want any wars to take place, but it's already happening. Wasn't happening when Trump was in office, but it's happening now. All right. Could that be a coincidence? Is the fallacy to act as if Trump was still in office that none of this was still go on? Yeah, probably. Because just because he was successful when he was in office does not mean that today will be different if he was still running the country, in my opinion. But back to Russia, this is some BS that's their business. How is this our business? That's what I want to know. Putin has been in control. This is from Rush Fan. Putin has been in control for so long. We know what he is and what he is capable of and unwilling to do. And anyone else will be a wild card, especially if the person that they're talking about right now, everyone is considering him to be worse than Putin. That's why the one gentleman on this panel said Americans who don't know a damn thing about what's going on in Russia, but they just know that Putin is bad, would much rather that Putin is killed and taken up out the way, not realizing that we're putting ourselves in a worse condition by replacing bad with worse. All right? Wow. Okay. All right. Biden, Obama, Clintons are worse than Putin.
And so, I mean, Patrick, what do you think? The bottom line is, oh, yeah, exactly. Let's get rid of Putin.
Yeah.
Then there'll be a whole new power struggle, and you'll get a much more radical Russia. What do you guys? And that's why Soros and the West were crazy 9 years ago to overthrow the Ukrainian government and then run these ops against the Russians to get them to come in. Because make no mistake, I'm not for the Russians either, but the West started this.
You're basically saying, be careful what you wish for. You want Putin out of there? Who's next in line?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And for everybody that was like, Trump and Russia and all the Russia, none of this would have been happening if Trump was in. So
absolutely.
Congratulations for voting for Biden, because this is what you get.
Alex, you're saying that this guy's even more hardline, anti-West, anti-NATO than Putin?
Prigozhin is 5 times worse than Putin.
Really? How do you know that? Like, what kind of research?
Wow, he said Prigozhin is 5 times worse than Putin. Crap. All right, let's shut up and listen to Alex Jones tell us exactly why he said that, because that was a good question. He said, okay, tell us why you said that.
I have trouble pronouncing his name, but I've been studying him for 20 years. I knew who this guy was 20 years ago. I've watched. I mean, he's always been there. He's been Putin's right-hand man since he was president. Before that, I mean, they came up together in St. Petersburg.
What can you tell us about the essence of the Wagner group? He heads this, but what's the whole purpose of these guys?
Well, let's do this first, and then because there's a key point I want to make here. Or give me a pen, I'll write it down. I'll remember to do it. But if I don't, I'll forget. Let me answer your question. Okay. Thanks. What is the Wagner group? I'll do that, and then I'll do. I forgot what I was going to say. It was key. Sorry. That's how my brain works. Prigozhin. You're asking what the Wagner group does?
Yes.
Okay. It was started 20 years ago by Putin, roughly, as his own private mercenary army to kill people he wanted killed inside Russia. With plausible deniability, and then to kill people around the world, and to go take over with mercenary forces in the third world, just like China and the U.S. does, and take resources. So they go around and pillage, and they also assassinate people for Putin.
And apparently,
so he's the hitman. He's the mercenary. He's when Putin say go, he say, oh, sure, absolutely, we're on it. This is fun. It's what I live for.
they're currently all over North Africa, the Middle East, Syria. They were the ones that helped invade Crimea, and they're all over Ukraine right now.
They're all over Ukraine, and they've been one of the most effective forces. And Prigozhin has been saying the last year and a half since it started, I know the weapon systems, and he's proven he's a good military commander. And I've got military guys, that he got out of prison. That's like most of his force. You're military, you're out. And a lot of these are, former special forces guys, some of the best Russian military they've got. And they're all saying the military is losing on purpose. We think they made a deal with the West and they're going to take out Putin. He's been saying that for a year. And so that's why I think they may have tried to kill Putin and blame Prigozhin. Because how does he think with 25,000 troops, if he can't take Ukraine and he's only taking some cities, how's he going to go take on the Russians that have got 10 times the force?
Rob, can you do me a favor? Just pull up the WSJ story and let's just read the whole thing. So what is Wall Street Journal that just came out? They're fairly reasonable and in the middle. What's Wall Street Journal saying? Let's just read this. So President Putin said Saturday he ordered military to act against Wagner parliamentary group that sees the Russian stomach. Okay, you got that. As Wagner columns move towards Moscow Saturday, they were attacked by Russian aircraft in the Voronezh region, some 300 miles south of the capital. Videos from the area show the city main fuel depot ablaze. A K-52 helicopter destroying a vehicle and another helicopter narrowly escaping a Wagner anti-craft missile. A Russian plane was also shot down. Okay. The crisis unfolding in Russia represents the most serious challenge to Putin's 23-year rule, a direct consequence of the strains put on Russia's society and armed forces by the war that he unleashed against Ukraine in February of last year. If the Wagner Group insurrection isn't put down swiftly, the strife could significantly undermine Russia's frontline troops in Ukraine, just as Kiev carries out a Western-backed offensive to Ukraine-occupied lands. The uprising lands are already emerging. Russia society challenges Putin's strategy of waging a long war against Ukraine. Okay, so that's not saying anything.
And what Prigozhin is saying, we've withdrawn because our half our troops died to the western edge of Russia. They began to bomb us this morning. We are not advancing. This is a lie. And see, notice the footage they say they have is of fuel depots and their bases getting blown up. So the military sees them as a threat and is taking them out. But here's the larger question. And please continue, but I want your take on this. Notice the timing of this. What happened in the last 2 months? The Ukrainians launched their counteroffensive 2 months ago, not 2 weeks ago, in probes. Then they launched their main attack, and not hundreds, but 10, like 400 or 500. I've watched the videos. I spent days searching, and it's not duplicates. The Russians, it takes 3 times the troops and armor to take a position, and you know this from the military, than it does to defend it. So the Russians got torn up going in, but now the Ukrainians have got to go into their defenses. And so it got destroyed. And I've confirmed this from sources in the military, not just what was in the news. And even CNN admits, okay, the offensive got destroyed. Most of the equipment got destroyed, like half of it. They've still got half the stuff the West sent. They're sending more, but they don't have troops to operate it because you got to train them. And so the Russians just destroyed this counteroffensive. Then magically it kicks into gear for a coup against Putin. That's the next phase. If they can't drive them out and have that victory, then next we get Putin. And so again, is the high command working with the West to get rid of Prigozhin and Putin and set up their new Russia system, maybe with the West, maybe not. We don't know which group this is. The timing of that fits with the West with the Russian system cutting off Prigozhin and Putin because these guys are best friends. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but you know Putin isn't sure. And so right now he's like, okay, we're going to get Prigozhin, but I think Putin's main issue is going to be his own military and his own system. Or maybe he's killing his best friend and does see him as a threat. We don't know.
All right, so check this out. I think it is a smokescreen. Puff, I'm with you. I think this is a smokescreen. I think now, not a smokescreen, a distraction. I think this is a distraction for something else that's going on. I think the timing of it all is just, come on, it's in your face. It's so much BS that's hitting the news feed right now. It's crazy. Now, is it arrogant to think that this has something to do with us? That this has something to do with Biden? If this has, like, the timing of it all is just one of those, hey, look over there while we do this. Look over that way while we do this. Possibly. It might be extremely arrogant to believe that, but it might be realistic to look at it that way as well. That's just me. Anyway, how's it become the craziest guy in the news is now the smartest person in the room? This is the sign of the times. Yeah, Alex Jones. It's crazy that we are here. It's crazy that we are here. But we're here. We can't cry about it. But at the end of the day, we got to deal with it.